I can feel the energy building as they hit the ice. The players are vibing. Hello Habs fans, welcome back to this week's episode of the Habs Fan Forum. I'm your host, Ben Dankyu, and here at the Habs Fan Forum, this is where us fans get to have our voices heard. So let's talk about those Montreal Canadiens. I can feel the energy building as they hit the ice. The players are vibing as they return from COVID and injuries. The lineups are starting to make a lot more sense as we come back to play in the next few weeks. Can you feel it? In today's video, I'm going to look at some line combinations as we come back from a decimated time. I think there was like 24 players in total on COVID at one point. Insane. Not to mention all the injuries. The energy's coming back. Play is returning. I'm going to talk about some of those line combos and some of my player thoughts. I'm going to be talking about my untouchables. Of course, the Habs are going to be active this year. They're going to rebuild. Obviously, they're going to be trading some players, maximizing some value. They're going to have some certain players iced to maximize the value of their trade output. But some of these players, they're off the trade list. Alright, so with some of these players coming back from COVID, and of course, some of these injuries coming back, not all of them are back, some of them are still skating, some of them have contact jerseys on. There's different levels of how these players are returning, but nonetheless, a lot of these fill-ins from the ECHL and the AHL that were really just, filling the space in the last couple weeks when this team was just like almost pretty much an AHL team at some points. They're going to be sent back. So I'm excited to see some of these players come back. And this team can be dangerous. They're an underdog all the time now because they are the worst team in the NHL. However, that said, when all these pieces kind of come back, I'm excited to see these Habs firing and actually playing exciting, really competitive games. So you might have heard me preaching about my goal of player development, all that great stuff. Still 100% preach that. But in the next few months, we're definitely going to need to see these Habs play their vets, play their trade chips, get them some value, maximize their points, show them in different looks to see how versatile they are, so that other GMs who are now definitely watching this bottom last place team roster can get a good evaluation of how they can fit into their lineups. A couple guys have kind of graduated from prospect to, I think, NHL, which would be Evans and Palin. Those two I'm not too worried about. They have a solidified role, it feels. But a few people who I'm kind of on the fence about whether they're going to stay up or down is Niku, Ilonen, and Vedamo. I think they showed some great looks. They played well throughout this break. Of course, as some of these returning vets come back, they might be on the outside looking in. But I will say this, over the past few weeks, though, they kind of forced the coach's hand. Some of these players who normally wouldn't be there got looks. And some of them showed why they normally wouldn't be there. But a few of them, like Ilonen and Vedamo, started showing some flashes of why, hey, we probably should be up in the NHL. And I hope they're there soon. So I don't know if they're going to be put back down while they're maximizing their trade value and then pulled back up for the end of the year. But Niku, Ilonen, and Vedamo, I'm kind of hoping those three get some great looks and eventually land in the NHL this year. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, DraftKings. As a part of Rocket Sports Media and the Hockey Podcast Network, the Habs Fan Forum is proudly sponsored by DraftKings. Right now, if you download DraftKings Sportsbook and use the promo code THPN on sign up, if you place down a bet of at least $1 and at least one NHL team scores, in that case, they'll give you a free $100 of betting credits for you to use and win even more cash prizes. And if you don't have DraftKings Sportsbook, that's okay. You can still use the promo code THPN and win great cash prizes. All right, who are my untouchables who I do not want to see traded during this rebuild? First, I'll do a little bit of an honorable mention of some players that I just don't really want to see traded. They're certainly not untouchable, but I think they have a good place in the upcoming lineup. We're looking at Evans, we're looking at Ilonen, we're looking at Anderson, Niku, and Edmondson. Like I said, none of those guys are completely untouchable for me, but I can see how they can fit into this lineup as they develop and this new NHL team comes together. I can see them being there. All right, now for my untouchables. First off, Alexander Romanov. Big fan of him. I've loved his play this year. He's really progressed in pretty much all cases. He's top 10 in the league in hits. He has the energy. He continuously wants to learn, play hard. So I definitely wouldn't mind seeing him there. Second up, Caden Gooley. He's a young prospect, of course, captain of Team Canada Juniors this year. He's in the CHL, developing player. Can't wait to see him get looks. He already looks stalwart. He already looks like he could potentially make this lineup. Can't wait to see him in a couple years. He's on my untouchable list. Next up, we have Suzuki. They just gave him a huge extension. He's going to be a number 1-2 center for the next 8 years. Great player. No reason to trade him right now in his young prime. So keep him. All right, next up, I have Cole Caufield. Yes, he has not quite lived up to the hype this year, but he has a lot of that firepower in him. He's going to be a better player than he is this year. You would not get great value with him right now if you traded him, and he has that potential. So on my no trade list. And finally, Ryan Palin. I love his leadership. He's finally solidified a role. He's going to be a great, at least third line center, potentially play up to a second line center in those top 6 minutes. He's a great leader. No reason to trade him as this team kind of shifts in this rebuild, because he's going to be a leader in the locker room as they continue to grow. So he's on my no trade list as well. All right, that's it for this week's episode of the Habs Fan Forum. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please just like down below and subscribe so you can get future episodes. Please share the video so more people can take it in. And of course, comment down below. Let me know your answer to my fan question. Which players are your untradables? If you're looking for more information on Untouchables, you can check out the latest episode on the Canadiens Connection, where Rick Stevens, Amy Johnson, and Michael Spinella go through some of their Untouchables and talk about them. They have a great segment there you can listen to. And of course, you can follow all Habs for the best Montreal Canadiens coverage. That's it for this week's episode of the Habs Fan Forum. I'm Ben Danke. Thanks again for watching. And of course, woo! Go Habs go, baby!